Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV from Toronto. I'm Mohammed Maxwell Hassan, and coming up, an interview with Imam Abdul Jabbar on the Kashmir Action Commemoration. Here's what's making news. Long-term facilities battle with COVID outbreak. Ontario Ministry of Education to remove the Indigenous science framework. Calgary MLA demands investigation of Collin May's controversial review. Rohingya face prolonged genocide plight. And now the details. Canadian long-term facilities are seeing an uptick in COVID-19 cases as the nation braces itself for the 7th pandemic wave. Ontario is facing a 110% increase in cases in its long-term facilities than the previous week. Quebec's public health spokesperson Marie-Claude Lacasse said that more than 25% of long-term patients are currently infected with the virus in the province. According to Lacasse, it will take a few weeks for the cases to go down. As of right now, British Columbia has 4 active long-term care outbreaks, while Alberta is dealing with outbreaks in 12 facilities. There are no reports of long-term facility outbreaks in Nunavut and Manitoba. Anishinaabe Nation Grand Council Chief Reginald Niganab expressed his disappointment in the Ontario Ministry of Education following its decision to remove the Indigenous science framework from the provincial curriculum. In a statement issued last week, the chief said that Anishinaabe educators were ready to discuss the inclusion of Anishinaabe knowledge systems with the Ministry of Education. According to the statement, an educational pact known as the Master Education Agreement, signed in 2017 between the Anishinaabe First Nations education system and the Ontario government, specifies the collaboration of 2 parties in curriculum development. Chief Niganab stated that in light of reconciliation, the 2 parties should work to include Anishinaabeg's knowledge for a brighter shared future. Calgary MLA Rajan Sani, who is also in a bid for United Conservative leadership, is demanding an investigation of Collin May's book review in 2019. The Alberta Human Rights Commission chief reviewed the book Islamic Imperialism by Ephraim Karsh 13 years ago, in which he called Islam as, quote, one of the most militaristic religions known to man. In a statement released yesterday, Sani said that she became familiar with May's, quote, pejorative comments about Islam recently. Sani said that May's bias towards Islam shows that the vetting process for the position was not thorough. This, she said, leads to distrust among the Albertan Muslim community. Rohingya Muslims from Myanmar are facing unforeseen delays in the international justice process for genocide and other gross human rights violations. Master Abdurrahim, an aged Rohingya living in the Kutupalong camp in Bangladesh, told a media agency on the eve of the World Day for International Justice that he was forced to leave his home 5 years ago but hasn't received justice. Having survived a brutal military crackdown in Myanmar's western Rakhine state, the school teacher had fled to Bangladesh along with his 5 children in August 2017. Despite the availability of documents about the genocide against Rohingya Muslims in Buddhist-majority Myanmar, the international community has been accused of failing to play its part in securing justice for the persecuted nation. And that's all for the news. On August 5th, 2019, the Indian government revoked the autonomy of Kashmir and Jammu from its constitution. We're approaching the 3rd anniversary of this historic governmental decision. With us here to talk about that is the Justice for All Director of Outreach, Imam Abdul Jabbar. Thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes, so quick question. So Imam, for those who aren't aware, could you give us an overview of this political decision?
Okay, as you said, that on Sunday, 5th of August 2019, the government of India revoked the Article 370 And this was the article which was giving, to some extent, the rights to Kashmiris to exercise their limited autonomy. And that limited autonomy was withdrawn on 5th of August. And what happened that both the houses of Indian Parliament, they dissolved the Article 370 and allowed the Indian president to place the territory under the lockdown. And this was the longest lockdown in which the internet was blocked, and the whole area was militarized by India. And the people could not go to their businesses, they could not go to their schools, and they could even were stopped to go to their worship places. So it was a worst kind of lockdown imposed on the people of Kashmir. And beside that, uh, what happened that the all the leadership, all the political leadership was jailed, and those people who were old, they were just put on the under the house arrest. So they wanted to make it acceptable to the people of Kashmir, telling the outside world that everything is acceptable and there is no reaction, no protest, no rally against it.
I see. I see. So, Imam, what would you say is the impact of the Indian government's actions on that day?
See, this is considered as a black day in the history of Kashmir, and people resented against that. And the Indian government thought that, and they see came up with false analysis that, oh, people have accepted it, but people did not accept it. See, there was a reaction to it. There was see a lot of incidents of against the peace and security of the region, and now they have realized that no, it is not going to work anymore. So they had to withdraw it. They have to withdraw the lockdown situation, and they have to give them the internet facility once again. But internet facility is not to the fullest, and it is still under the control, and the region is fully militarized.
Right.
Everywhere you can find, yes.
Sorry. So, just curious now. What's the role that Justice for All plays in all this? Like, what have you done in the past, or presently, or in the future? How does Justice for All fit into all this?
Okay, there's Justice for All, and especially its Department of Kashmir Action, which was instituted soon after 5th of August 2019. And so the objective of this department is to effectively advocate for the people of Kashmir and to work for the right of self-determination of the Kashmiris, and to bring an end to this military occupation and colonization of this area of Kashmir. And Alhamdulillah, we have been able to introduce this issue, especially in the US. We have organized rallies and protests against this infamous this revocation of Article number 370, and there were several demonstrations in various parts of United States. And soon after that, the JFA, Justice for All, had organized a digital rally, which was attended by the leadership of Kashmiris in both parts of Kashmir and those living in the United States.
Imam,
And
just curious, Imam, could you elaborate a bit more on that? What's a digital rally? What is that? What did that look like?
digital rally is, see, of course, because of COVID-19 that had prevalent at that time, and we could not hold an actual physical demonstration against this act of Indian government. So we had organized a webinar, that was kind of rally. We said rally because it showed the people their resentment, and also the leadership showing see different political people, uh, whether they were in Kashmir or they were here. So they came and they spoke, and this is called a digital rally.
Now,
And
question, Imam, I'm curious, are there any other plans in the future that you have? So you mentioned you had digital rallies, you had other initiatives. Is there anything in the works for things up ahead?
yeah, yeah, a lot of things you see that we have done is that we react to any action that is taken place in occupied Kashmir, especially their Registration Act and also Domicile Act that was introduced after that. And we have resented against that. And also, the Indian government has brought up some publication that this act of Indian government, the revocation of Article number 370, was well appreciated. So we thought that it is good time to come up with an analysis of it, and we did the analysis and we showed it to the people. And also, we have we have started launched a campaign of prisoners of haq, prisoners of conscience, and especially 5 people who were worstly affected by the Indian brutal activities, that they had kept these 5 people behind the bars for a longer time, 35 years, 32 years, 25 years, and 15 years, and 3 sisters, see, about 12 years or 13 years, they are in the jails.
I hear
So
you.
we
Yes.
came up and we introduced these sisters and their cases and brought it to the limelight and to the human conscience of the world.
Thank you, Imam. Thank you so much. That's all, unfortunately, the time that we have for now. But for anyone who wants to tune in and connect and get informed, it's justice for all, justice for all. So thank you, Imam Abdul Jabbar, for sharing your insights, and all the best on your initiatives.
You're most welcome.
Get more informed by supporting Canadian Muslim News by subscribing. Stay tuned for the next episode. Assalamu alaikum.